This one is all about learning to film with drones.
That sound.
That's
a good sound.
So the shoot went well. We didn't break any laws.
Yeah, man. That's awesome.
And we use it as an excuse to get Jason up in the Harvard and produce a commercial in California. So I'm on set here for a photo shoot for the Benny Gold clothing line, helping out kind of coordinate a drone shoot, and we got some airplanes.
So here's the scenario. We've got a film producer that wants to film with a drone at an airport. And here we are at a non-towered airport, and we're gonna go through everything that needs to happen legally and safely to get this shoot done.
So there's a lot packed into this one as we follow 2 crews in 2 countries doing 2 different film productions. As a filmmaker, it's been awesome to watch the evolution of drones become really viable tools. But as a pilot, it's been really frustrating to watch this whole situation unfold. The regulations keep changing, and it's really hard to know what you're allowed to do. So I've just kind of avoided the whole thing. But over the past couple years, I've been inspired to really try to help offer some sort of solution to this problem. Because a few years ago, I had an experience that was kind of scary, honestly.
Yeah, this is a rush, man. This is amazing. Hey, what are we climbing for, 2,000?
No, we'll just enjoy the view.
All right, sounds good to me.
After publishing my first lesson in the Stearman, someone sent me this rock climbing footage of the same area filmed around the same month. It seemed innocuous enough until I saw this shot.
Okay.
All right, now just carve it around the corner of the escarpment here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
These guys filming the rock climbing had no idea they were potentially conflicting with aircraft. I managed to get a hold of the drone operator to talk about it, and he was really shocked and honestly pretty humble about it, but he just really didn't know. The bottom line is when drones and aircraft are occupying the same airspace without knowing about each other, it's a serious issue. And just this week it's in the news, a 737 actually hit one, and a developing story in the UK about what seems to be a coordinated drone attack to shut down a major airport before Christmas. These sort of things are only going to make the regulations much more serious, and you do not want to accidentally break the law.
So there's a reason why you've never seen a drone shot in a Flight Shops video before, and it's because I haven't been in a position to do it legally. Brock's my cinematographer buddy. He's not certified, and I don't want to skirt with the law, so.
From my perspective, yeah, as a camera person, I've been getting excited about drones for a really long time, but I feel like now is the time. They've never been more compact and more powerful and more user-friendly. So I'm ready in that sense. Again, I've always been interested.
You're ready as an artist, but the question is, we want to be legal.
But I'm completely, I find it entirely daunting, this idea that, there are all these hoops to jump through.
So obviously a lot of things came together to inspire us to work together with the Finer Points to build an app that'll help teach drone operators the law. And we thought the best way to learn about this was to watch some professional drone operators do what they do on real-world shoots. It's amazing just how meticulous these pros really are.
As a monetizing YouTuber, I know that I can't do it as a hobbyist, so if I use a drone, it wouldn't be legal, so I just have been avoiding it until now. So I'm finally learning how to fly at Harvard, but today, we're just shooting B-roll for the production, and we're using drones with Daniel.
So I hope you enjoy this deep dive about us learning how to work with drones. This was shot a while ago, so I've since covered the entire process of being checked out to solo this thing, but today, it was all about Jason getting his first ride in a WarBird.
Oh man, this is amazing. I mean, everything's just military quality. That's not something I'm used to. So the airplane looks legal for IFR then? If you got all the checks done and everything.
I think, don't you need an additional instrument? I've got just the VOR. Steve, aren't you?
On the stage.
Steve, how about that IFR, bud?
And yes, my instrument rating has been an ongoing struggle. Check the latest videos for news on that.
So you'll notice manifold pressure is above ambient, right? Mm-hmm. So the red line's 36 inches. It's supercharged at a 10-to-1 ratio. It's a Pratt & Whitney Wasp 1340.
We'll jump on board to see some of the highlights from Jason's flight shortly. But for now, my role on this shoot was to learn as a producer working with drones.
And we got NOTAM filed, so any pilot that's done his due diligence who's coming here has read that NOTAM, knows to possibly expect drones 250 feet and below.
So it was actually filed for 150 feet and below, but that's just one of the many things that Daniel did for us on this shoot.
So I noticed in the NOTAM that you specified 0 to 150 feet AGL. And I thought that was interesting because the first thing I noticed when I started flying a drone was 400 feet's pretty high. There's not many times you have to go above 400 feet, are there?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, regulations do limit you to 400 feet, but realistically, drones are operated, they get the best value really at the low altitude.
And the crew in California confirmed the same thing. Most of the footage we needed didn't require the drone to fly very high.
On any shoot, I always tell my client that we take care of the top down and they take care of the bottom up. And how that translates is wherever we need to stand, put our trucks, prep, that's all the producer and production's responsibility. Oftentimes there's a confusion where they ask us, can we fly there? And in most situations, we can fly just about everywhere these days with certain kinds of permission and coordination. But really the most difficult part in our commercial drone ops is where do we put the LZ? And that is always the most time-consuming part of the process.
If you can, during takeoff and landing, keep one of us between you and the drone, and don't walk into our LZ under any circumstances. And then on top of that, for what we're gonna do now, because you guys are gonna be doing your thing over here, we're gonna be doing our thing over here. So I think we can make
this is about the bound.
Yeah, I guess don't go past this point.
So I'm on set here for a photo shoot for the Benny Gold clothing line, helping out kind of coordinate a drone shoot, and we got some airplanes, so lots of cool stuff happening here, and making an episode about what goes on in the process to get this done.
Okay, thank you very much. And in any situation where we do have a malfunction, we always put the copter over into a safe place.
Look to your left.
The Benny Gold brand is an independent clothing brand out of San Francisco. It started from just a simple sticker I posted around on my days off from work. And the stickers were just a reminder to myself to stay youthful and not lose sight of the things I loved in life. And the simple sticker said "Stay Gold" with an airplane on it.
And why airplanes?
It's more into like what planes symbolize and what they stand for.
That's awesome, like the freedom.
Like freedom and movement and growth.
And then that's like with the flash. I kind of like the flash look.
You know, you never know where a personal project takes you. I was just doing something to make things and for the love of creating it, and now it turned into a worldwide distributed brand with a huge following.
That's great.
And back in Canada, we're on board with Jason, experiencing the heavy controls in the Harvard for the first time.
Okay, I'll let you do a roll. So we got our roads lined up here. I got your airspeed, you have control.
I got the flight control.
Remember, no power, just...
So you just pitch up for it, eh?
Yeah, pitch up 30 degrees.
All right, you ready?
Yep, ready to go. Now commit to it, fully commit, and stay with it, stay with it. No negative G.
Okay.
You're good, you're a little off heading, but not bad.
So I shouldn't release like that at the top.
Not in WarBirds. Typically, it's not good for the oiling system in these airplanes.
Yeah, that's heavy.
Yeah, I know. Here, you fly it around, just loiter here, because I got to check the map, make sure we're good. So you have control.
I got the flight control.
While Jason was flying, I was trying to interview Daniel.
Burlington traffic, Texan, Victor, India, Juliet. 11 miles, 5 minutes. To the west, southwest. Inbound, 20 feet left downwind, 414.
Got 5 minutes.
Okay, so we should get it.
That's
We should get ready.
Yeah.
But we had to cut that interview short to recombobulate to film the low pass when they got back. But Matthew covered a lot of the key points I wanted to address.
Communication is one of the most essential parts of any good operation. It's why we have headsets. It's why we spend a lot of time prior to the shoots discussing things, because once we get rolling, it starts happening quick, and that's when accidents happen.
Burlington, Victor, India, Juliet's turning base to final. 1-4, we're going fast.
I'm going fast again! Woo!
So this way we have additional situational awareness of traffic movement in a movement area of the airport.
That's excellent. And for the most part, they want you monitoring, right? They don't want you making calls like my drone is going here, whatever. They just want you listening, correct?
For most part, yes, that's correct. We had situations on towered airports where we're in constant communication with the tower, and they would require us to sort of give them a heads up when we have a liftoff and when we're finishing.
This is the kind of the line of sight that I want, right?
I think.
More or less?
Yeah.
Okay.
When we arrive on set, the aerial coordinator and DP, myself, and our expert pilot Zubair come together and we convene with the ground crew and go over all the parameters of the permit and those kinds of logistics. We then start to block out the shots and block out the position of the copter for the pilot, and then start to plan the camera movements.
We've decided on this spot because it's got a good line of sight. will be out of the shot.
This would be the LZ, you call it?
The LZ, the landing zone.
We started, I mean, we had authorization already since last week. So we did 2 days ago, we came to the airport to make sure the equipment operates in proper manner and as safety is assured. We looked at obstacles and possible things what we need to do. And last item on the list was really, is it going to take off? Is this geofence system and DJI drones that we're going to use today, is it going to work? And it didn't. So it was the next step was to actually send the email and request authorization from the DJI to lift the restriction of the drone. So that was performed by them. It took about 48 hours to reply. You can count, sometimes it's 24, but typically 48 hours to get back authorization lifted. And here we are today. Everything's good.
Whenever we're shooting, we always want the director to address the camera operator, and then the camera operator addresses the pilot, and this sort of encourages that situation and allows the pilot, allows me to like move around and make sure I have a good line of sight and I can see obstacles, because I may not necessarily want to be right here.
You don't want to be directed.
Yeah. Well, also there's a big difference between camera left and, you know, boom left, right? You know, returning, or, you know, there's all these dimensions, right? Because we have 6 axes of movement for the drone.
So you got a bag of camo there.
Well, what we found was that when we're doing large landscape shots, it's very difficult to frame yourself out.
And a lot of times we had permission to shoot in a certain area, and we had to shoot from that area as well.
Yeah, so we didn't have opportunities to, you know, frame out. So we developed a bunch of camo gear and wear to hide within plain sight.
It is funny to show somebody a frame grab and say, hey, guess where we are in this scene, and you have to look. It's like, where's Waldo? It's like, oh wait, no.
Right base, get right turn, line over the brake bar, speed off.
Hi guys, this is Justin turning final mode. He's just turning
He's center frame.
So I'm gonna start the move now, and I'm gonna go to position 3 edge.
We learned a ton watching the Aerography guys work in this real-world scenario. And we got some great footage for Benny's ad, but it's still in post-production. So here are some highlights.
When we did the shoot at the airport, I know what we went through. We had to get the operational permit from the county. You had to add the county to your insurance. You made a comment to me like, this is pretty normal. I've done this 100 times before or whatever. What kind of things did you have to deal with on this automobile shoot up in Bodega Bay?
I do the same work for the big shoots and the small shoots. A shot map outlining the area in which the drone's going to travel, proximity to things, and then a POA, plan of operations, that outlines the operation in a written way, and then it references the map.
Most of the applications, most of the missions, what we typically do, we utilize a position called Visual Observer. So you have typically pilot in command that it's controlling and watching the aircraft, and then you have Visual Observer that would be steps away and constantly monitoring operation of the aircraft. And that additional visual observer is a very good idea because it will give you additional situational awareness. That person could also look around and see other things that pilot could not see potentially because he's focused so much on flying the aircraft.
There really wasn't any sort of an app out there that does this, so I'm really proud to be part of building Drone Pro. Now, I'm not really trying to sell this to Flight Shops viewers, but I am hoping you guys are inspired to help share this to make the skies a little safer.
Our app is essentially giving you all the knowledge and preparing you for the test.
Yes.
But our feeling is everybody should learn the knowledge, and it's
Right.
engaging and fun to learning.
On some level, it's a little bit exciting too, like to, you know, test my brain or, you know, learn something new in that way. But but still, like, I guess as an artist, like I like to sort of jump in and, you know, like pick up the camera and there's the thing, and, you know, to be inspired and then work. But the number of hoops are, well, I mean, they have been a deal breaker for me, at least up until now, right? It's a tool that it's come up so many times, you know, and in other jobs where it would have been the perfect tool to have. And I just, you know, you have to either hire somebody else or just forego it altogether.
So Brock is using Drone Pro to learn all this stuff and to get his certificate.
Safety is number one. I mean, definitely, you know, the main thing, people can get injured, you know, things could happen with the drone, and essentially this is the very heavy item in the sky. You don't want to ruin it for everybody else. I mean, one bad accident is going to put stop to everything, you know.
So the information contained in our Drone Pro app really applies to everybody. I mean, the law applies to everybody. Anybody can break the law.
I know the people, so we're gonna get you trained safely, we're gonna get you certified, you're gonna know what you're doing. But what's cool is that part of the training also involves things like understanding weather so that you know what's coming for a shoot. And you could even apply that to a non-drone shoot just to know, like in 12 hours from now, is it going to be cloudy? Is it going to be raining? What's this, like this quality of light? Is it going to be consistent? Because if we start with hard shadows and then 6 hours later we have soft shadows, that's hard on a cinematographer.
Yeah.
So awesome.
In these situations, there's a ton of personalities around, tons of egos, and a lot of people asking for things that are extraordinarily dangerous that you shouldn't do. If you don't have the mettle to say no, you shouldn't be in that situation.
Wow, that's a heavy bird.
And I'm sure as a pilot of manned aircraft, we deal with the same thing. One thing I know is that the more the drone community pulls in all the safety protocols from aviation, philosophy-wise, better our whole drone industry can grow.
Huge thanks to SkyPapi and Aerography for being part of this. It was really helpful for us to work with these professionals to bake in some real-life scenarios into the app, because ultimately we're just trying to help educate drone operators, and I really hope this app does well, and I hope you guys are inspired to share it. And until the next episode, keep your flight chops sharp.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. This one's good. Tell Benny if the clothing thing doesn't work out, he could always become a model.